Welcome back to Gibbo MMA, and today we're going to make some bold UFC predictions. So we're going to have a time capsule for the year 2030. So I'm going to split these predictions up to by 2030 and then in the year 2030. And we're going to make some predictions and then over the next 5 years, and then in 2030 we'll revisit and see whether I'm delusional or if I make some pinpoint accurate predictions. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to make some long-term, I'd say 5 years, because that's a long time in UFC. People come and go because yeah, athletes careers span maybe 10 to 15 years. So I thought 5 years we'll be able to make some predictions because yeah, a lot happens in 5 years and people come and go. So yeah, so I'll start with by 2030, we will see the UFC have their own wrestling league. Just like they have now with the UFC BJJ, they've got their own jiu-jitsu league going on now. So I think they're going to see in the market that wrestling can be a big money potential, and yeah, I think they'll have their own wrestling league and maybe compete with the NCAA. They'll see, it's really big in America, and the way the NCAA runs, a lot of those wrestlers the amateurs are doing it for free. Obviously, they're on scholarships and they get some sponsorship deals now, but I do see where they could start making their own wrestling league, and then from there they can get them in the UFC. So yeah, by 2030, I think we'll see UFC delve more into the wrestling market and create their own sort of league. Now, and I think DC, Daniel Cormier, will have a huge part of that. I think he might be the president of the new wrestling league. Now, by 2030, Dana White and Joe Rogan will still be working at the UFC. Dana White will still be president in the year and by 2030, and Joe Rogan will still be commentating once we hit 2030. Joe Rogan is 57, so he's still got plenty of prime years at the commentary desk. And so he started at the UFC in 1997 at UFC 12, where Mark Coleman became the first heavyweight champion. He beat Dan Severn. So Joe's, he's been there for a while, but I think he's just going to continue doing those pay-per-view events in America, and we'll definitely see him around. And Dana, of course, he'll still be president when we're in the year 2030. Now, by 2030, I think we will see UFC be sold or another merger and acquisition. I think, yeah, we'll see them either sell to another big conglomerate or merge with another one. So just looking at the history, like in 2000, it got bought by the Fertitta brothers for 2 million. And then 2016, it got sold for around 4 billion to a group led by Endeavor. And then just a couple of years ago in 2023, it merged with the WWE to create TKO Group Holdings. And now that merger, now the group TKO's got like a valuation of around $21 billion. So I think with the way the UFC is going, the stock's been continuously going up with TKO. I believe just when you see those big cash cow sort of opportunities, I think we'll see TKO, who the UFC is a part of. I think we'll see them probably be sold off to another big organization, investment group. You could even see maybe Netflix or Amazon buy out TKO. But yeah, I think by 2030 we'll see another shift in ownership of the UFC because yeah, I think there's just plenty of opportunity in that business, and there'll be a big a big fat cow waiting to buy it all up. So yeah, I think UFC will yeah, be sold and merged again by 2030. Now, getting into some championship stuff. So by 2030, I think we'll see our first ever UFC champion from South Korea. Yeah, so who will be? So I think we'll see our first champion from which country? Who will that be? And by 2030, I think we'll see South Korea finally get a UFC belt. They're slowly on the rise. They're getting better technically, skill-wise. They're getting a lot better with the grappling and the wrestling side because they've always had pretty good striking. I think with Korean Zombie, he's really made it big in Korea. South Korea, he's got his own promotion. And you've got guys on the rise like Chang Ho Lee in the bantamweight division and uh, Hun Song Park in the flyweight division. Yeah, I think the guys are getting a lot better at their grappling and getting more well-rounded. And there's plenty of guys and girls from South Korea coming up. And I think by 2030, we'll see a South Korean champion. You got Kiwi Junior, sorry, we got the Korean Zombie Junior, who just got signed. He's like 30, 31. Could he become champion? Yeah, by 2030. You, we could see it, but yeah, there's plenty of South Koreans that are on the rise now, and they've got some pretty good records. And yeah, I think we'll see South Korea have their first UFC champion by 2030. Other countries I did think of was Kazakhstan with Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think that's pretty clear cut obvious because right now he's like number one contender. Like he's pretty much going to get a title shot most likely. Like he was born in Uzbekistan, so you can claim either one. But so that was a pretty obvious one. But I tried to go a bit more bold and who isn't clear cut, which is South Korea. And then you think of countries like India who have got over 1 billion people and they've only got two UFC fighters uh, in the organization. You got Anshul Jubilee, who got absolutely torched in 19 seconds by Australian Quillan Salkeld at the DDP Strickland card in Sydney. And then you got Pooja Tamar, women's strawweight, and you got over 1 billion people there, and it's just they ain't producing UFC fighters. Plenty of cricket players, but yeah, you'd think India would have a better hold of the fighting market, but yeah. And then Thailand, you got the whole Muay Thai, but it seems like they just, you got a lot of MMA gyms coming up in Thailand. I thought surely there'd be some more people from Thailand fighting, but it just seems like they just stick to the Muay Thai, no grappling allowed. But yeah, I think, yeah, South Korea. Let me know um, which country by 2030 you think will have their first UFC champion. And we'll move on. So, where will UFC host its first event in by 2030? I got a few here, South Africa, like the continent of Africa. You got South Africa and Nigeria, Morocco. Would be probably, would surely, because you got Dricus du Plessis, who's from South Africa and champ. You'd think surely they'd be there by 2030, which is a bit obvious. You got Spain, Ilia Topuria, they've been trying to work it out. That's a pretty obvious. Thought of Georgia, surely they'd be there and have an event by 2030, but they don't seem to have the big enough arena or stadium infrastructure to hold an event in Georgia, because you got Marab from there, Topuria. So yeah, I think by 2030, I reckon we'll definitely that would be in Africa. I think we'll see a UFC event in Africa, whether it be South Africa, Nigeria, or Morocco. Um, Next prediction for the time capsule, and it's a bit disappointing and annoying, this one that I'm gonna make. I want it to be on the other side of this, but by 2030, I feel sorry for the fighters, but the gloves will be the same and they will not have a deal with Trevor Whitman. He's got the Onyx gloves. Pretty much a lot of people use them to train with, and they should be what the UFC fighters should be using. But I think we'll still see the same gloves by 2030. They did try to change them. Was it sort of last year, I believe it was, and that lasted like only a few months. They full did a rehaul of the gloves, got gold gloves at championship fights. They fully changed up the padding a bit, and then after a few months, they went back to the old ones. So I think they're just going to keep it the same. All right, by 2030, the women's, I think there will be a shake-up in the weight class. It kind of already is now with the women's bantamweight division. You've got Kayla Harrison champ, and then you've got Amanda Nunes probably coming back. But I think we'll see the women's bantamweight division gone, and it'll just possibly be an open weight. I think we'll see a change in the in one of the women's weight classes. We could even see women's atomweight added to the women's weight division. And then I don't think we'll see any changes for the men's. I would like to see it just like flyweight, just go to 130. We'll just go 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, and just go up in tens. That would be a lot better, but I don't think they're going to change it just to keep that consistency and history of it all. But yeah, I think there should definitely be like, make bantamweight instead of 135, put at 140, make featherweight not 145, make it 150, lightweight, make that 160, keep welterweight 170, and then you can have 180, 190. Because there's a lot of fighters that are around that 145 to 170. There's a lot of fighters there, and I think we're missing out on a lot of fighters who could fight at like 180, but then need to fight like at two. They'd have to fight at like 185, but they're just like those tweeners. So yeah, I think we'll still see the same weight classes in the men's now. By 2030, I don't think we'll see any changes in the UFC scoring system. I think the judging will still be the same, the 10-8, the 10-point system that we've got from boxing. It would be good to get maybe instead of 3 judges, 5 judges, and really change up like the criteria a little bit, add more, like include more of like defense, defending takedowns and submissions or all that grappling stuff, because a lot of fighters have won just by offensive wrestling, but not essentially getting takedowns, but just pressing them against the cage. And I think defense needs to be accounted for a bit more. But yeah, I don't think they'll change the scoring system by 2030. Now, a UFC signing. So I think by 2030, I think Usman Nurmagomedov will be signed to the UFC. He's currently the Bellator PFL champ in the lightweight division. I think he's cousins or something with Khabib. So I think he'll be signed to the UFC by 2030. And we move on to in the year. So now these predictions are going to be in the year 2030. So what will happen in that year? So I'm making this pretty much 5 years out. So the ones I've just made will have been like by 2030. So over the course of the 5 years now, we're going to see what changes and where we'll be at then with those predictions I've just made. But yeah, in the year 2030, what will happen? So who will be the number one who will be the number one pound for pound fighter in the year 2030? And I had a look around, and you kind of have to go for someone young on the rise. And I was looking around that age, 25 years old, because by then they'll be 30. And I was looking at Quillan Salkeld from Australia, which was just real easy to come by for me, because he's 25, so he'll be 30 by the time that happens, and he's 2-0 in the UFC. He's looking really good. I have high, um, really, yeah, I do think he's going to go a long way. And by the time it's 2030, I think he'll be the pound for pound fighter in the year 2030. And for the women's, I went with Erin Blanchfield in the year 2030 will be the women's number one pound for pound fighter, because she's 26 years old, so she'll be 31 by the time it's 2030. And she's currently the number 8 pound for pound women's fighter. So it's a bit of a hard one to do because you're looking at age, and you just don't know what's going to happen over the next 5 years with the fighter, with injuries, or if they retire early, or yeah, there's just so many. I did think of Tom Aspinall. He'll be 37 by the time it's 2030. Heavyweights generally do peak toward around the mid 30s. He's currently 32 now. So in 2030, Tom Aspinall, I think, yeah, you could definitely be a top 5 pound for pound, but number one, I don't think so. All right. So in the year 2030, um, which current champion will still be champion? So we've got current champions like Marab, Tom Aspinall, Ilya Topuria, um, Jack Della, um, Dracus du Plessis. But I think a current champion now who will still be champion, I think Tom Aspinall will be champion in 2030, and because he'll be 37, heavyweights are generally can continue to keep performing well in their later years. So I think, yeah, Tom Aspinall, who's a current champ now, will still be champion in the year 2030. Got some bonus ones here. Ilya Topuria, he's currently 28. He'll be 33 by the time it's 2030. So he's definitely a current champ that could still be UFC champion in the year 2030. Jack Della, he's 28 as well. So he he will still be in his prime by 2030. Only thing is, it's just he's had a couple of bad injuries. I'm just wondering how his body will hold up. He's in a stacked welterweight division right now, and I think it would definitely be hard to still be champion in 2030. I hope he does, but I just thought of him because he's around still that younger side of the current champs. Because DDP, he's like 32. I think he might just be a bit old. Marab, he's 35. Pantoja as well. Yeah, I just don't think they'll still be in the UFC by the time it's 2030. All right, so yeah, let me know in the comments so far. Make some bold predictions by the year 2030. What you think? I tried to keep it broad with the predictions around sort of champions, pound for pounds, but also like the business side and executive with the presidents and commentators. Tried to keep it like a broad aspect, but yeah, in the comments, put some down below because yeah, it'll be fun to revisit. But I got a few more here. I'll keep going. Um, in the year 2030, I don't think we'll have any Russian champions. Anyone from the Dagestan, Russia. I don't think there'll be any champions in the UFC in the year 2030. Like you might see some from that Caucasus region. I don't know, like the Armenia, Georgia, um, Chechen, I don't know. Like, yeah, I just there could be some from those countries, but yeah, specifically Russia. I don't think we'll have any champions in the year 2030. There will be no Russian champions. I think everyone else around the world is slowly adapting and being able to neutralize their grappling style, how to get better to defend it, getting better at their offensive wrestling. Craig Jones has really pioneered that, like you've seen it with how he trained and helped Alex Volkanovski. You saw Volkanovski do really well. Jack Della. Yeah, I think a lot of fighters are getting more information around and skills and how to learn to neutralize that grappling. And I think we'll slowly, people are just becoming way more well-rounded, and I think we'll slowly see the fights stay back on the feet. And I don't think we'll see any Russian champions in the year 2030. Right. Now, BMF belt prediction. So in the year 2030, I think Joshua Van will hold the BMF belt, the baddest motherfucker belt. He's currently 23. He just fought Brandon Royval. He was ranked 10 or 12 at the time and beat the number one contender Royval. And then now he's number one contender at the flyweight division. And so Joshua Van, he's only 23 and he's now going to get a title shot against Pantoja. But just the way he fights, he just, he's just a heavy boxing. It's very BMF-esque. And I think he'll either go for a good reign or title reign. He might not even get the belt, but he's a real fun fighter. And that's what you want in a BMF fight. So I think there will be a flyweight BMF fight, and I think he'll get the belt in the year 2030. All right, Hall of Fame prediction. So in the year 2030, I think we'll see Alex Volkanovski or Israel Adesanya inducted into the Hall of Fame in the year 2030. I feel like they got a few more years left, and you notice with the UFC, pretty much once a star retires or he's been a champion, pretty much once they retire, like a year or two later, they're inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like Habib got inducted real quick. Jose Aldo, he he had a short retirement. He got inducted, and then he came back and then fought in the UFC. Amanda Nunes, she got inducted pretty quick, and then she's probably going to come back. So I feel like we'll see Volkan Adesanya for a couple more years, and then by 2030, I was thinking they might have them both in the same Hall of Fame class together. But I'm like, I reckon they might spread it out, split them up. I think they each deserve their own. All right, this year it's Volk that's getting, and then Adesanya really space it out. I think either Volk Adesanya in the year 2030 will be inducted to the Hall of Fame. All right, now I'm making a big long-term bold prediction here. I thought, fuck it, this will be fun. In the year 2060, I will be 60 years old. What I'm predicting is we're gonna have a UFC event held in space by the time, or in the year 2060. I think with the way it's going, they've commercialized trips to space. We had bloody Katy Perry up in space only just this year. And I think they're seeing a market for that to get civilians and make a business out of taking people to space for a little tour to see what see if the Earth is flat from up there. But I think, in the year 2060, I think we'll see UFC in space. Elon Musk, he's working hard. He wants to go to Mars, and a lot of money is getting poured into space exploration. Jeff Bezos, and I think we could see UFC held in some sort of space arena. I don't know, like with the NASA thing. Like, imagine that being up in space in some, I don't know how they will do it, and you just up in space, and then you look out and you just see an Earth, to your left. And imagine your seats, it's like a floating room, and you're just like watching these guys fight, and there's like, obviously they'll have like, they won't be floating in the air, the fighters, but imagine being in the crowd and you're just like floating around and you could like float over the top of like the fight or something. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think in the year 2060, I'll be 60 years old. The way technology rapidly grows and innovates, and I think we'll see some sort of fight event held up in space. But I kept it somewhat kind of short and broad. I didn't go too crazy, but that's where you guys can come in. Comment some bold predictions. Do by 2030 what you think the UFC, the state of the UFC will be at, or what we'll see happen, like which region we'll see an event held in, or which region will have UFC champs. And then yeah, do some predictions what will happen in the year 2030. But we're gonna wrap this time capsule up. We're gonna lock and seal it, and then in 5 years we're gonna revisit this video and just see how far off I was or how on the money I am. So that's the 2030 time capsule wrapped up. I'm gonna maybe do like a 10-year one, or each year I'll do a time capsule. Maybe we'll do 2035, but yeah, so it'll be cool to revisit this video. I'll be looking a little bit maybe different by then. We'll see. Yeah, and we see how far the YouTube channel has come, and see where we're at. Definitely want to still be doing this and keep creating content for you guys. Be sure to, yeah, comment your predictions. Let me know what other videos you want to see. Be sure to like, subscribe. But yeah, comment some bold predictions for the time capsule, and then we'll be able to go back in 5 years and see what you commented, and see whether you're on the money, or see how delusional we are. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you again soon.